Today I'm working on my Toyota Yaris and I've got to change the coolant. And I took the cover plate off the top of the motor. So it looks like this is the fill reservoir, the overflow reservoir. And it's within specs, it's right here. And then right down there is the drain cock, and it actually looks like a plastic one. And my experience with these is just assume that they're gonna fail. That doesn't mean they're always gonna fail, but I would just in the back of your mind just assume that it might break and you gotta go buy another one. So the problem I've been having is it's been smelling like antifreeze, and so it's been smelling like antifreeze, and there's a little bit of some buildup here on the overflow hose. So I'm hoping it's just because it's old, the antifreeze is old, or coolant. I don't want to have to worry about any leaks or corrosion or anything. So this is the shop manual for Toyota. And there's the drain cock plug right there. That's what I just showed you down here that's yellow. The radiator cap is right here. And I was looking for the cylinder block drain. So they say it's supposed to be up above the intake manifold, but I don't see it. It'd be really cool if it was there, because it'd be a lot easier to drain it and fill it. But since it's not there, I think I'm going to have to do it the hard way. They might be showing a different type of model for another country or something. But it's too bad it's not there. So what I'm going to do is make sure this isn't hot. So if you can press on the radiator hose very easily, that means it's probably not under pressure. So the engine's nice and cool. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this off. It sounds a little crusty. Yeah, it sounds pretty crusty. It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, so you got to take the cap off before you can undo the drain cock, because it won't drain very good. The other thing is, before you drain the radiator, make sure your heater selection is all the way to hot. So every car is different, but just make sure it's all the way up, because you want that open so that hopefully it'll drain some out of the heater core. Usually doesn't, but it's just a good idea to do the right stuff, just in case your car is designed a certain way and it will drain some of the fluid out of the heater core. So let's see how bad this is. Where is it? I'm reaching down here for this guy. I've got my drain tub. Lined up, and it's cool. You can't see it, but there's a little hole where for the drain cock. There's a little hole through the plastic molding on the bottom, so that it goes right through. So you know, they've put some thought into this. Okay, I'm turning it. Okay, there it goes. Oh boy, it is red. Look at that. I know it's not focusing. That is red. Yeah, the camera's doing a pretty good job picking that up. Wow. Can't believe how red that is. Oh boy, that doesn't look very good, does it? Yeah, it looks old. It's actually draining pretty good. It's a good stream of coolant. So that's a good thing. So my hope is that most of it will drain out. It's still draining. It's been about, it's pushing about 10 minutes. Oh, now it's gonna stop. Boy, that stuff's red. I don't think that's rust because it's all aluminum. I think even the engine block's aluminum on this car. So it's just the color of the antifreeze. So I don't think there's a gallon there, and it takes 5 quarts, so I've got a gallon milk jug. And what I'm going to do is just see how much actually came out. Of course, you got to measure the reservoir too, the overflow reservoir. So I'll have to drain that as well, because they count that as the fluid capacity of the vehicle. So to drain the overflow reservoir, you have to disconnect it here, and then I'm not going to do it, but and then there's a clip right here, so you have to undo the hose from this clip, and there's a clip here, then a lower one, and the reservoir is right, the drain pan's right there, so I just guided the hose down. The only thing you have to make sure is this hose is below the bottom of your reservoir, because if part of it loops up too high, it won't drain, because the fluid won't be able to overcome the height of the hose. So you want to make sure the entire length of this hose is below the reservoir bottom, and then it should all drain out, or almost completely drain out. So anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and measure and see how much fluid actually came out. So there's the drain pan, the funnel, and then a 1 gallon container of milk. Okay, according to this, the capacity for an automatic transmission, which is what I have, is 5 quarts. So, and I did empty the overflow reservoir, so technically I got 4 quarts. There's a little bit left in here. So there's only about 1 quart probably remaining inside the cooling system, and that's probably in the heater core. Probably a little bit in the engine block, because I don't know where the engine block drain is, and there's probably some in the heater core. So there's still a whole quart of fluid in there, and that's pretty normal. It's very rare that you can get all of it out, especially if you don't have a drain cock on the engine block. So, but that's not bad. Getting a whole gallon out of this little tiny car, that's actually pretty good. So this car is a little bit easier than some of the other ones so far. Now I got to put some of the flush back in. Let's see how good it fills up. That's the hard part, is filling it back up. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and put back into the system to flush it. This is radiator flush plus cleaner, and this is you can either use it as a regular just 10-minute flush, or you can use it for a heavier duty cleaning, which is over a series of days. They recommend 3 to 6 hours of run time, but I don't think you want to do that over a long period of time. You want to do it in a short period of time, like they recommend 3 days. So I'm going to put this into the system, and then distilled water. In an emergency, you can probably get by with using your garden hose, but I don't recommend that, especially in some of these aluminum engines. Get distilled water. It's not that expensive. This is a gallon. It's just a better way to go. But like I said, if you have to use your garden hose, just plan on flushing your system again real soon. I closed up the drain cock on the radiator, and I temporarily just loosely fit the reservoir hose back on, overflow hose back on, and I'm going to fill right here. The problem is there's air in there, and you have to figure out ways to get it out. Sometimes it takes a long time to refill the cooling system. So I'm going to see if this car is an easy one. I'm going to find out real quick if it's an easy one to do. I've done other Toyotas, and they've gotten such a bad air pocket in them. It was hard. So I'll just go ahead and fill it, and I'll let you know how it went. So I ran the Prestone Flush product through the cooling system for about 3 days, and then I went ahead and drained it, and then I put fresh water, distilled water, back into the system just to kind of wash out the sudsiness of the Flush product, and I think they recommend that in their directions of use. So I actually had to do that a couple times, and then I decided to do it another couple times again just to make sure it was just all cleaned up. And in the process of refilling it several times, I realized that if you hold this funnel that fits in the opening where the radiator cap goes, if you hold it up about a ½ an inch, then the air can escape through the side without having to come up through the center of the funnel. So when you push down like this, there's no way the air can get by here, so then it just comes up through the funnel. And the problem with that is it takes a long time. So if you hold this funnel up about a ½ an inch, or maybe a little less, the air will just bypass here, and surprisingly it does not overflow. Most of the time you're filling, it does not overflow and leak out. So it's worth a try, because it definitely speeds up the process of filling this back up. The only thing is, you got to keep an eye on it, because when it does start filling up, where you have most of the fluid in the system, if you hold this like a ½ an inch up to make it easier to fill, it will spill out. When it reaches the top, your antifreeze will spill out all over the place. So you're going to have to keep an eye on that, because you don't want to spill it if you don't have to. But if you do spill it, just take some fresh water and just rinse off the components. Make sure you dilute. The key is just to dilute the antifreeze solution, and you can do that with just fresh water.